What's going on? What's going on, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls? Thank you for joining us this Saturday morning. Um, and today, like I said, we're happy to be here. We have a guest, Mr. Information Man. We got a video we're going to look at as well to piggyback this conversation. Um, the Information Man, as I seen him, this brother was really going in last week about a topic we want to talk to him about. And this brother is a good knowledgeable brother. A lot of people say he's one of the best in YouTube information wise. Hey, I'm all willing to learn and listen. Like I said, I don't know anything. I'm learning every day. I'm reading books, taking in knowledge and information. So, Information Man, if you could take yourself off mute, brother. Take yourself off mute.
How you doing, brother?
There you go. All right, all right. So, Information Man, you're here. Thank you for joining us today.
Thank you, brother. Appreciate the invitation. And everybody in the chat room, thank you for being here. Thank you.
Yes, sir. So, Information Man, we'll get started. Could you tell people a little bit about yourself? Like, why are you, posting on YouTube? Just for people who've never seen you before.
Okay. Basically, I'm a brother. I'm originally from Baltimore. I was born in Baltimore, Maryland. I have family back there. I've been living in California a good majority of my life. I lived in San Francisco for 26 years, lived in Oakland for 10. So I'm kind of a Bay Area type brother. In terms of my activism, it started when I was in college. I was involved in Pan-Africanism, protesting against a little bit of everything, any kind of injustice. My earlier years were working in the community through my organization. So I worked in a place called Sunnydale Housing Project area, where we worked with Black youth in that community. And we just started off as brothers that were just doing some tutoring, trying to do some mentoring. And I had a frat brother who actually lived close to the community. And through funding, as brothers graduated and got funding and worked hard, we were able to convert this vacant building, which we were using just to work with kids tutoring. And eventually that vacant building got turned into a boys and girls club. They also have a program to deal with youth who are coming out of the juvenile system. So those are some of the early things that I did in my early 20s, working in the community. And we eventually, as brothers moved on and grew in their careers, that program was eventually put in the hands of the community. So we were even able to create jobs. We had a partnership with San Francisco educational systems. So we were able to get jobs for the community, to teach the kids, to work with the kids. Then we have mentoring programs to bring kids out of the community and let them see Black men in particular, who are doctors, lawyers, professionals of all kind, so that they get that image. You need that image to be able to, when kids grow up. When I was a kid, I say, hey, I want to be this. Most kids, some of our kids in our community are saying they want to be basketball players and athletes. Why? Because they see people who look like them doing that. So our kids need to see more of that. In the community where I live at currently, we have a program called Project Alpha, where we do a mentorship with young men in the community. We identify the issues in high school. So if we can get to the high school level, where we can identify specifically young Black males who are having some problems, because that's where it all goes wrong for us in the educational system. So we're able to identify through the school district here young men who have these problems, so that we can grab them right in those early stages before it turns to the worst. Okay, because I have worked in the prison system in California for over 16 years, dealing with young Black men incarcerated who have mental health issues due to incarceration, due to whatever the other circumstances are. And I'm seeing young men, 21, 22, young, long sentences that I'm trying to steer them in the right direction. Those who have parole dates, hey, man, we don't want you to come back to prison. These are the things we need to work on. And you know what they always tell me, Brother Phil?
What was that?
If they would have had a father. See, a lot of times you'll have people that'll criticize a brother like me and say, hey, you being the cleanup man for the community that's dysfunctional. A lot of these young brothers in prison are telling me they wouldn't be in prison if the gang wasn't their family, if they would have had a father, someone that would have stirred them in the right direction. But the gang became their family, the criminality became their life. And I hear these brothers who are in prison telling me this. So I know I'm all over the place here, but those are some of the things that I have been involved in my years on this planet.
And that's awesome that you making your mark in society and definitely within the community. Because see, a lot of people what they don't understand, we all have our place to do different things in the community. Because sometimes somebody will say, "Well, information man, you're not doing this, that, and the third, but you doing what you're supposed to be doing."
Exactly.
And 9 times out of 10, the people that's telling you what you're not doing, they're usually not doing anything either. And I think if more people would get to work, roll their sleeves up, and actually build, help, we can get somewhere. And the thing is, we all got our gifts. It may be your gift and your calling to do that, right? I have my gifts and callings. Another people who watching got theirs, and we got to understand we got to play our position because whether we like it or not, our enemies know how to play their position very well. They don't overstep each other. You know what I'm saying? They don't tell each other, well, why don't you ain't doing this? Why don't you do? No, you keep doing what you're doing for white supremacy. You keep doing what you're doing for China, and then we gonna go on and try to colonize and take over. Now, we look at the topic. Why are some African Americans resistant in connecting with Africa? We have a lot of excuses, and I'm trying to make sure I cover those excuses. But before we play the video, I want to hear your take on it before we play a video.
Why are Black people, African Americans, we're resistant to going over to Africa? I actually believe that it is a part of what plays into our psyche from the time that from our ancestors that are brought here. We have been what I would call plantationized. We have a plan. You've heard this before, but everyone listening, we have this plantation mentality where we want to stay close to the soil. We've been so conditioned that America is the only place for us because our ancestors worked the land as slaves. And so a lot of times you'll hear Black people say, well, why should I leave when my people built this place? Like I said on the panel that time, you heard me, Phil, we should be able to ride a bike and chew gum at the same time. We can still have our connections to America while exploring outside of the continent. I think a lot of Black people have fear because we've been culturally conditioned to see Africa as the term, the dark continent, this evil place. Every time we get a report about what's happening in Africa, it's always about warring, intertribal wars, famine, somebody dying. And then what the media does that really play on our psyche, Brother Phil, is that they show you the children with the stomachs that are really big, that are hungry. So they paint this picture in our minds and our psyche that Africa is a terrible place to go to. Stay away from them. They're not like us. I remember when I was growing up, it was commonplace for people to make jokes and say, you're an African booty scratcher. Remember that one?
Mm-hmm.
That was okay. Or you got bones in your nose. Look at how they portrayed Obama. No matter how you feel about Obama, whether he did something for Black folks or not, what was the first thing that they did to Obama? They put the bone through his nose. That's an old throwback stereotype, right? That we got witch doctors. They called him a witch doctor. They called him monkeys. All that's associated with continent of Africa. Also, for those of us that have been around for a while, that are Generation Xers and older, remember the Tarzan movies? Those Tarzan movies, in some ways, was the first introduction for a lot of us as it relates to Africa, based on what we see visually, right? And I had a professor in college who said, he or she who controls the media can control the mind. So if our only image is that Africans are savage because of what is portrayed in the big screen in the television, and that it takes a white man to win the day, right? A white man grows up in they call it a jungle in Africa, is not even what? A complete jungle. There's freaking more jungle, if I'm not mistaken, in South America, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
Right? But we always identify Africa as that dark, evil continent where there's witchcraft and there's all this nonsense, and that they're running around with loincloth around them. So those sort of stereotypes growing up in American society plays on our mindset. And therefore, when I or yourself, Brother Phil, say, I'm going to Ethiopia, I'm going to Kenya, that's when you'll have Negroes who come from this fear, this I must stay here with Master. Master say I got to stay here, so I'm going to do what Master say. So what it is, it's a combination of field Negroes and house Negroes. The field Negro wants to break away and be free. The field Negro want to say, like they said in the Superfly movie, man, what's wrong with you? We got color TV. I got this car. And where else am I going to go?
Yeah.
What do you think, Brother Phil?
Yeah. It's just it's amazing to me. I'll be honest with you, brother. I've been shocked. I have been so shocked, but at the reaction to that, because some people that actually make videos, they'll talk about racism, they'll talk about white supremacy and what they doing to us, and then it'd be the same people at the back door and say, well, I don't know about going over there. It's a trick. It's this. Like, what? Like, you were just saying about how we being done dirty, how we shot down like dogs, how our kids can't go to school in peace, how they poison the water, doing all this stuff they doing to us. But then we say, okay, well, shoot. Like Trump would say, we ain't got nothing to lose, right? So why don't we try that? Oh, no. And like you said, it sounds like some slavery. It's just like it'd be like the brothers like, hey man, look, check this out. We getting off this plantation. We ain't being here no more. Why you leaving the plantation for? That same, it's literally repeating itself. It is amazing. We coming up on the 400-year anniversary, and black folks are literally talking the exact same way they talked back during slavery and mentioning Africa. That is just amazing to me. I didn't realize, like, a lot of us have never been on a slave plantation, yet we still have that same house Negro and field Negro mentality. It is amazing.
Check this out, Phil. Remember when we were on the panel, when we were over on O'Shea's platform, and I'm not going to name no names, and you had brothers talking about, well, Pookie and Ray Ray are not going to do this and do that. That to me, and I had to get on them, that to me is the slave mentality, because it's just like the Negro on the plantation who loves master, right? And prays for rain when the big house is on fire. And then he runs to the master and says, they trying to leave the plantation, and we can't allow that to happen. Daddy, we're going to give you some more cornbread for saying that, So we got Negroes who on the one hand will tell you that we as black people in America need to stop whining about racism, that we need to come together. And then when we talk about going to the continent, those same Negroes who push those conservative ideologies will tell us that we can't go over there and do anything, right? But then they're telling us what we should be doing here in America. They tell us to stop whining about not being independent here, but then they tell us that we can't do the same thing in a continent. And when we know that that continent is wide open and they're looking for black people, men and women, to come over there and make a connection. What do you think, Brother Phil?
Well, my thing is this. When I went, okay, I'm not talking off a perspective of the imagination of Africa. I went to Ethiopia, seen it myself. I didn't see no bones in nobody's nose. I didn't see no witch doctors. Everybody was no different. They dressed no different than me and you are dressed, okay? Everybody's chilling, living their life. I had a great time there. I seen more so when I got to Addis Ababa, not in Mekele. I started seeing whites. I started seeing Chinese. When I was on a flight going to Ethiopia, bunch of whites was going over there. We didn't see any African Americans. Whites from the UK, whites from everywhere these whites are going, they just enjoying themselves in African nations. Chinese do whatever the hell they want to do, so much so they're trying to colonize. And you will complain here in America about colonization, but yet you're not even attempting to go over there or even trying to set up anything to go over there to fight against that or help that. Now you're saying, well, we need to build here first. You're not doing anything. Let's call it what it is, because we could actually come together and do some great things here. We could, but we're not doing it. They make up excuses. Well, the Africans, some of them, they ain't gonna like you. Well, a lot of y'all don't like each other here. Okay, what's the next excuse? Well, you gotta get shots. Do you know how many shots they want your kids to have before they go to school?
Exactly.
Less shots than you require you to go. And then about the yellow fever. If you come from a country, most African nations say this, you come from a country that don't have yellow fever, then you don't have to take the shot. But let's call it what it is. Mosquitoes have disease here. They be like, oh, malaria. You gonna get malaria? You can get West Nile virus here with mosquitoes.
That's
you
right.
Get Zika virus here with mosquitoes, and that has killed people. Look it up. It's not very hard to find. So
True.
what is your excuse? And most blacks live in the South where the mosquitoes are more prevalent, right?
That's right.
But they say you go get malaria. Like they got an excuse for everything and a solution for nothing. That's my issue. Whether it's here or in America or whether over there. Now listen, for a long time, information, man, what did they always say? They sold us and they don't even think about us. They don't reach out. They don't say nothing to us. They say like F us, right? Now they're reaching out. Now the African Union, is reaching out. Everybody's trying to reach out to us now, and all of a sudden, why are you reaching out for now? Like,
Well,
what do you freaking want?
I think I heard you say this, Phil, that got to remember that how much could Africa do for us when they were under colonialism themselves and
Right.
they were being occupied at the time that we were also being enslaved. So I think a lot of times when black people have this thought in their mind that, well, they didn't come back for us. How could they come back for you when they were completely colonialized? And if you read, there's a book called The Complete Destruction of Africa, the underdevelopment of Africa. Africa has been underdeveloped. You've had a destruction, and just like we got black folks that will sell us out in America, you've had Africans that have sold other Africans out in the continent. Look at I think Dr. Moonby made a good point. All the top black leadership, African leadership in the continent, they all were assassinated. They all were taken out. We're talking about the ones who were really for the people, not the puppets that the Europeans and America puts in power. They get rid of the ones who really want the liberation of their people, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so when you get rid of those and you put in the puppets who do all the, so when you hear black folks talking about, well, their leaders over there are corrupt. Well, you got to understand why their leaders have been corrupt and who has put them in it. If you get this, I told you about this earlier, Confessions of an Economic Hitman. Okay, by John P. talks about how America is an empire, Europe is an empire, and how they manipulate leaders. They put in puppets that they want. And you got the book right there, right on, brother. That's right. There it is. There it is. I got a copy. You got a copy. This book is powerful. It tells you why we're in the situations that we're in, why, and it also plays into the fact of why Africans were never able to come over and so-called save us as we want to be saved. They were under their own imperialism, colonialism, whatever you want to call it. So we black people, I think part of us, we lack a sense of understanding history and reading because we get so much of our information from that dummy box called the television.
Well, now you got some, people they kind of moved to smartphones and tablets. So now, it's disseminating information from there. But we are living in the area of increased knowledge. So this is why things are good. But you talking about selling out, and corrupt leaders. Do you know you live? Talking about corruption? You really know you live? What are you talking about? Like you live in a place where you have the most honorable leaders here. The only difference between their leaders and ours, their leaders are more upfront with their corruption. Ours are just more secretive. And that's why you don't find it out till later, right? We talking about selling each other out. Man, we always talk about cooning and shucking and jiving. It's the same thing. Selling each other out. We are the same everywhere we go is what I'm learning. Everywhere we go, we do the same stupid things. That's wrong. So you can't.
Let me drop this on you, brother. Ahead. One of the things that has disturbed, I didn't answer this other question that you asked me. I came to YouTube because I'm sick of what I see on the news. I wanted to have a voice. So that was the reason why I cracked open a YouTube platform, because I wanted to have a voice and I wanted to speak upon stuff that you're not hearing in the mass media. I wanted to give a black perspective. I wanted to be able to connect with people of like-minded. That's why I really enjoy connecting with brothers and sisters on YouTube who are really about black people. One of the things that has been difficult for me, Brother Phil, is that as much as we talk about white supremacy, and this plays into what we're talking about, brother. We talk about white supremacy and what Europeans have done to us. You know who I've gotten the most pushback from? It's been my own people. And that's very difficult. I feel that we are in no shape or way equipped to fight against our true enemies when we're too busy bickering and fighting with each other. And I've seen that on YouTube. It's been very disappointing to me. And I think that black people, because we don't like ourselves, we begin to turn that hate and that anger from within, from without on our own people. So if you don't like yourself, you're certainly not going to like other Black people who look just like you. It's a self-hate that we've been taught, and we got to break out of this, which is why I think Black people sometimes don't support each other, whether it be on these airways, whether it be businesses, because we have this, we don't like ourselves in some ways. And that's holding us back. So if you're sitting up here talking about how you're against white supremacy, why are you hating on a brother who's got a YouTube channel or whatever that brother's doing, or sister who's trying to do something positive, and you're hating on them? You know, it's like we hate to see any of us have any kind of success. And I think that plays into the whole issue around going back to Africa, because they see that as, oh, you're trying to be more successful than me. You traveling, you trying to be international. You trying to leave the damn village. No, I'm holding on to your legs. I'm going to hold you down, you know?
Right. And like I said, with us, like I said, since we, had a rapport with the African Union in Addis Ababa, and now we found, the African Union that's in D.C. Phil making that connection. Like I said, I just don't talk. I move around in everything that I'm doing. And, one thing that sister told me at the African Union when she gave me that tour, and that sister's name was Malukin, is that sister name. And when she looked at me and she told me, like, she pointed straight at me. She said, that you're not, give me, hold on a second.
Okay.
No, man. So anyway, when that sister looked at me and said, that you don't belong in America. Deep in your heart, you're African. You know exactly where you belong. You say, that. And then when she said that, it did something to me, like inside, like it just like perked up. Like, how dogs, the ears perk up, and it's like, wait a minute, she right. It's like, because like I say, my feeling when I was there, like even spiritually, was totally different than the moment I step back here. It's like you feel that weight on your shoulders, and then like, oh God, it's like I'm back, like that sort of thing, right? And it's crazy. It is so crazy how you feel at home. And then here, I don't try not to get too upset with our people here, because this is all they know. They have been, you had the original slaves that came over. They knew the difference between the continent and here, right? But when they had children, all they knew was slavery. All they knew was the conditions. So to tell them that it's something back over in the continent, like, what are you talking about? What's wrong with all this? Like, what are you talking about? And then they say, oh, well, Africans are coming over here to try to get education, and Africans are doing this and Africans are doing that. They don't even want to be over there. I say, yeah, because they got a problem too. They don't want to build their own country. Because you know what Muammar Gaddafi used to do with his people? He used to say, look, I pay for you to go get the education in Europe. I pay for you to go get it in America. I pay for it, no problem. But you got to come back to Libya and build Libya. That's the way he said, and there's nothing wrong with that. Going somewhere else, get a particular skill set, and then bring it back to the continent. And that's really, from what I'm hearing, brother, and like I'm gathering everything, it's kind of where they're going with a lot of that. Like, if you could bring the people back, that with the American education, with our skills and everything, and build that up over there. Like we have what they say, alleged 13 to 15% of the population. It's like we never grow. Well, it don't even start there, right?
You know what's funny about that, Phil? This 13.5% of the population, where it's like I've had debates with Black folks about this that will say, well, we are 13.5% of the population because we abort more children than anybody else. And I always ask myself, okay, who told you that? Where did it come from? And let's be honest. Most of these statistics come from people who don't look like us.
Right.
Why, if we have an enemy, why would our enemy want to let us know what our true population is? You can't tell me that Black folks are not having babies when we see in the news, it's already coming out. I've done videos on this, that Europeans or white people are having a decrease in their birth rates. I talked to a brother, goes by the name of Life Machine Power. I hope you're out there, brother. He lives in Toronto, Canada. He told me that the reason why they've been inviting people from other countries to live there is because white people in Canada are not able to produce themselves. Their numbers are going down. And they tell me and you that Black people, that we're only 13.5% in America, that we haven't grown, we're not having babies. Yeah, we have abortions that are happening, but come on now. I know that might be a little bit off subject matter, but I think it's all relevant.
No, no, no. It is, and like I said, I don't believe that because that's kind of what it is. White people don't really count themselves either. They really don't want to give the true number of whites in this country because if you really broke down how they did the census, right? If you want to get
Yeah.
into that numbers game, okay, they include people from Mexico, South America, anybody who's so-called, and I say so-called Latino. They put them in the white category to fluff up their numbers. They put Arabs in the white category to fluff up their numbers, right? They'll
Yes.
put all these different groups with white so they say, oh, it's more whites here. But if they ever had a census where they say, look, Hispanic, so-called Latino, Chicano, Mestizo, whatever you want to say, this is your section. Arabs, this is your section. Okay, now you're going to start breaking down who's actually white in this country. And they don't want that number because they know good and well that their numbers aren't increasing. They report on it every day that black people and also Hispanics are having more babies than them. That's why they pushing so hard to get them out. Is because they feel that, man, they about to take over and do whatever. I believe, you believe what you want to say, and then some people don't believe this, but I believe it's the good Lord dealing with them globally, because in the Bible, barrenness is a curse, and you're the only one barren. You're the only one not having kids throughout the whole world. In every country where you're at, you're going through barrenness. Come on, if you don't believe in God, you gotta know something's up with that. Come on, every person, every race, and then also check this out. When they get with other groups of people, they have kids. Have you noticed that?
Exactly.
But they can't have kids with each other. So see now, and they realize that curse is happening. Their strategy is, let's push the white woman on the black man so we can possibly get them genetics, and then we can do racial whitening, hopefully, with the next second and third generation like we practice in places like South America, Argentina, whatever else, right? And that's a total different place to go. That's why they attack anybody that speak against black folks and white folks particularly being together. Oh, boy. More white folks will attack you today over that than black people will. Trust me on that. But we don't want to get too off subject. My thing is this. We're talking about the African continent. I feel it's time. I feel that maybe it's a reason we can't build here. Maybe it's a reason we are being gentrified constantly. Maybe it's a reason why we have the increased attacks. Maybe it's a reason why we have the increased murders of black people. Maybe it's a reason for Donald Trump. I mean, I think about it like that as well because, black folks, we don't want to do nothing unless we're forced to. If we're comfortable, you're not going to get us to do crap. You know that.
We always have to do, we always engage in doing what's best for us when our backs are against the wall, when there's some sort of something that turns the wheel that's a stressor for us. And I'm gonna be honest with you, brother. I think Donald Trump, in a lot of ways, I usually call him Donald Chump, but I think in a lot of ways, in some ways, he might be the best thing that could happen to black people in America. And also the worst thing at the same time, if that even makes any sense, because it's now waking up people to realize what this country is really all about. To me, Donald Trump is the manifestation of how white people or European people feel about us, because Donald Trump is so very honest and forthright about what he says as it relates to speaking the dog whistle. Now he doesn't even have to speak in a dog whistle. He just simply says what's on his mind, and the people who follow him, his message resonates with them because that's really truly how they really feel deep down inside. This whole thing about post-racial when Obama was in office, and this whole thing about we're in a multi-racial society is sort of, I think, a myth. Because in America, we're still segregated in our individual communities by our race and our neighborhoods and our economic status. So in some ways, black people, we're going to have to unify, because when we're unified, that's the only way we make it. But when we're all integrated into the society and we're over here and we're over there, you're going to always have black people who are going to say, well, I'm doing fine, so that's just y'all over there. And what was the one thing that unified black folks doing civil rights? No matter if you were rich, poor, a celebrity or whatever, you all was catching hell. We were all catching hell, and you were forced to live in only black communities.
Right. Let me respond to Kim Jones. I'm gonna go to the African Union myself in D.C. Hopefully, whenever we get the response, and I'm gonna ask that same question. I'm about building Kim Jones. I'm not about just talking on YouTube. Trust me. Don't play me for like that. I'm just not saying you are Kim. But no, I want to see it happen. Information man want to see it happen. But before that, a lot of people, I want to shut that down. I want to shut that down for now because I just saw something pop up on my thing. I don't want that. I don't want that to happen. I don't want no temporary blocks. But anyway, for the most part, that's what Akon was saying in this video. And information man, you agree with Akon?
Yeah, I agree with him 100%. The key word being fear. That we're so fearful of trying something different because we're so used to what we've been conditioned to be used to here in America. He made really good points, brother. The point where he said, if we can make Fortune 500 companies here or make record labels, he even talked about our athletes could create leads in Africa and they would be successful. So he said, start with Africa first because they got the population. You're going to be successful there because that's the new frontier. It should be the new frontier for Black folks. We should be doing the exact same thing that we're doing here in America or trying to do here in America, in Africa, if you've got the means and the resources and if you can pull your resources together. I don't know why it's a no-brainer to me, why some of us don't take a chance in doing that. And I don't know. I just think that it goes back to the white man's ice is better than the black man's ice. America is the country that we're in. And so if it ain't America stamp of approval on it, then we can't be successful. If it ain't in America, it can't be successful. But he's telling you, Akon's telling you that Africa is a wide open place for investment, for you to create a Fortune 500 business within 5 years, because you don't have any pushback there. And last time we checked, the Asians are doing it. White people are doing it. Other groups, Arabs are doing it. And I don't hear anybody telling them, and we said this before, telling Asians and Arabs and white people, what you doing over here? I don't hear it. Matter of fact, Brother Phil, I was at work the other day and a doctor that I happen to work with, he comes into work the last few days bragging about how he's been all over Africa. Oh, I've been here. I've been here. I've been to South Africa. I've been this. I've been that. Oh, yeah, I know all about Africa. I mean, he's sitting up here bragging about where he's been, where he's invested. And I'm just listening. I'm like, look at this. This little old white man here, right? And I'm saying to myself, now, when the last time have I heard a Black person talk like that and say, I've been here and I've been there in Africa and I've been there and I'm investing here? He said it so proudly, and that ain't even his ancestral soil. But he says it as if he owns Africa. He says it so matter of factly. That is the difference between the ideology of white men and us as Black people. In some cases, that they have an ideology that they are free, they can do and go anywhere they want to go. And Black people, we want to keep ourselves, I'm generalizing here, folks. We want to keep ourselves, in some cases, not all of us, in a box. Now, what is that, Phil? You hear this all the time. White folks bragging about where they've been. they think they know more about it than you, and in some cases they have, because they have a passport, something that a lot of us don't have.
Right. I want to read the super chat real quick. Say, the brother says, hold on, let me click it. Phillipscott, you know who that is?
Oh, yeah, that's my brother from the BAIO, which I'm a member of. What's going on, brother?
All right, he said, if you want an excuse to not do something, you will find it 100% of the time. That is so true. That is the God's honest truth. You know,
Brother Phillip is a deep brother, Phil. That brother, that's my brother there. He's deep. Okay. And he's a part of the BAIO is about infrastructure, land, and nationhood, and trying to gather as many brothers and sisters together who have different skill sets, whether it be contracting, plumbing, anything and everything, to be able to build a nation. You have to have people that have the skill sets. You got to have educators, right? You got to have who knows about electricians. You got to have all that to build a nation. If you're going to have nationhood, you must know and understand what do the people want? What do they need? Right? Security, food, clothing, shelter, all the basics. So that's my brother there. Love him.
Yeah, and shout out to him. Like I said, when I went to Ethiopia and I had asked a question at one of the ladies at the reception desk, I say, when the last time have you ever seen the African Americans come here? And she was
Oh,
like, she just started looking in the air and just really like thinking hard. She say, I rarely see African Americans. I can't remember the last time I seen one. I say, but do you see? I say, who do you see? She say, white people, Chinese people. I see them. It said, but I don't see African Americans, and that was just amazing to me. How she was just like, it's rare to see y'all, like you're an anomaly, at least in Ethiopia. And I'm like, that is crazy. You get what I'm saying? Because I know a lot, excuse me, a lot of African Americans like they big places Ghana. That's their place. Oh, Ghana, and then they may talk about Senegal, Ivory Coast, to West Africa. That's kind of where they talk about. And which I definitely got to get out to West Africa too. But I said, you go where you led sometime, right? So if I'll lead to Ethiopia first or the East Africa. Then we're supposed to definitely going to Kenya next year. I definitely need to hit South Africa because we got to connect down there with those brothers and sisters. They tired right now. Trust me, I've been talking to them and they ready. That young population is ready. They ready for the EFF to take over. They ready, man. I'm telling you, they ready. And they had this. Let me tell you something. Malema said something information, man. See, this is why we got to get down there. Let me tell y'all our influence. You realize that we are pissing off the Boers and all these other whites that's in South Africa right now. Let me tell you why me and you and many others are pissing them off because we are the outside influence in the South Africa. Okay.
wow.
And this woman told me on Facebook, and I wanted to even do a whole show on that just to talk to South Africans. She said, we are the rainbow nation. And I said, how are you a rainbow nation when your people own the majority of the land? Black people are still living in shanty towns. They're still being disenfranchised. How in the world are you talking about a rainbow coalition? I said, that rainbow only benefits you. It doesn't benefit black people. Yeah, but we didn't have these problems. So all you outsiders start putting your opinions and getting people all stirred up, saying the exact same things they say here. I mean, like verbatim. And I told her, I said, wait a minute. First of all, I said, that's not your land. You're not a true African. Yes, I am. I was born here. It'd be like me telling you not American. No. I said, you tell me I'm an outsider. I said, no, my DNA links back to Africa. Okay. Your DNA links you back to the Caucasus Mountains. That's what I told her. I said, well, I know African languages. I said, you can learn 1,000 of them if you want to. You are not indigenous to that land. I said, so get used to it. It's a new day. Oh, she was hot. Because that video I posted about the white dude raping the 6-year-old little girl at that restaurant. You remember that video?
God. Yeah.
Okay.
God.
She was more mad at me. This is what she was mad at me about. This what stirred that up. She went from talking about the little girl to being pissed off that I said you should not trust anyone who enslaved you or had you in apartheid. You should not trust them. That's what she was mad about, not trusting them. I say, oh, so basically what I did was I'm messing up your Negroes. I'm getting your Negroes stirred up. I say, oh, no. Killmonger is coming to the continent. Get ready.
Exactly. I remember hearing you talking about the anchor babies when you have people who come to the continent and they have these children with the women to keep some sort of connection to the land.
It's a war tactic.
That's a war tactic. Exactly.
And black folks don't understand that. Oh my God. Man, I'm telling you information, man. The Chinese have laid about 10,000 anchor babies on the continent and took off. Okay. You talking about I thought the black man was the deadbeat dad. Them Chinese doing that junk on purpose. See, they don't understand the weaponization of sex. They don't. Black folks, because see, black folks don't understand colonizing. They don't, because this is what they do. Information, man. Any colonizer, if you study colonization, they go and they either rape, pillage or even get in real romantic relationships, whatever, to have a bunch of anchor babies, right? This is what they do. Everywhere a colonizer has went. To study that. This is what they do. They get the anchor babies to infuse their mind into that child. And they must understand that woman, we're going to say a woman, has to be on his team, right? So the difference with black folks, you say, well, black folks date out more than any other group, but black folks do not practice a colonizing mentality. In other words, for instance, if a black man got with a white woman, he gonna start saying all lives matter. He not gonna make that white woman start talking about raising a fist and talking about I'm gonna use my white privilege to end racism. And he's not gonna make sure his kid is raised in a liberation fashion. In other words, the reason why so-called interracial dating is bad here is because the black man and black woman turn to the other side for the most part. Not all, but most time that's what happens. Versus when a colonizer, like the white man, he don't care about that interracial or whatever, because when he pick his Negroes that he with, he makes sure they start saying all lives matter. So basically, they still on team white supremacy. They never left, even though they are dating other people or marrying other people. I don't know if you noticed that. Look at the white supremacists. They go after Asian women, Hispanic women, black women, whatever. As long as that white man is not off of team white supremacy, he fine. Now, if he start talking about, oh, I'm gonna fight for black people, I'm gonna fight for Hispanics, I'm gonna fight for Asians, then all of a sudden the white supremacists gonna check him or kill him, or so he better shut his mouth if that's what he want to do. But have you noticed that?
Well, I notice it on a real broad, a real deep level, Phil. Where I work at, I actually deal. A lot of people talk about white supremacy on these airwaves. The kind of work that I do, and I work in psychology, I actually deal with what you would call white supremacists, gang members, all type.
Right.
And I'll tell you right now, I have dealt with guys with swastikas on the middle of their head, the whole 9 yards. They're part of these groups, these Aryan Brotherhood groups. And then you look in their records and you find out they got a black girlfriend, believe it or not. They got a Hispanic girlfriend. They got some kind of love affair with someone that you would say, hey, they're not supposed to be with that person, right? But see, a lot of times, brother, we acquaint access to sex with certain groups of women with a representation of equality. So a lot of times you'll have black men in some cases that because they have a white girlfriend and they're getting that sexual access, that acquaints that, oh, racism is over or everything is okay. She accepts me. You always hear it all the time where a white person will say, well, my boyfriend was black or my wife is black, so I can't be racist. That does not matter because historically through history, particularly white men have always been who had slaves on plantations, treated us poorly. They would still have access to black women, whether it forced themselves on those black women or not. They were still having sex with black women at the same time practicing their racism. Matter of fact, you know this historically, they would even let the black women, the quote unquote mammies as they called them, they would let them breastfeed their children. That's a deep psychology.
I got a picture of that.
Like us, but you let us breastfeed your children. I know I'm going off the path here, but I had to make that statement that we got our ideas of what is equality all mixed up because we got it mixed up in sex and the mixed message.
Well, if those black men, for instance, like every black man knew how to took a colonizing approach, and when they dealing with them white women, trust me, and if all these white women they use them to infiltrate whites and bring information back, use their white privilege to gain things, but it goes back to black empowerment. They will come up with miscegenation laws all over again. They say, wait a minute, hold on. These Negroes have figured out a way to turn them against us and use them for us. As long as the white woman can be used to take a black man to all lives matter, and I don't see race. As long as that's happening, the white man is fine with you being with a white woman. See, the white man is allowing you to do that. Like I said,
okay.
learn how to flip it on him. Watch, he'll come up with new laws all over again. Trust me on that. Don't think he won't come up with miscegenation laws all over again. Shoot, I wouldn't be surprised he come up with it because he can't have kids, and if he keep letting everybody else have children with his woman, then I kind of wish he would come up with miscegenation laws for at least for his group. Say, hey, don't fool with them. Cool. I was like, because a lot of these dudes are stupid, you know. You look at Bill Cosby. Ask him about it.
Man, that Bill Cosby situation, I tell you.
See, look, Bill Cosby, what he should have did before they charged him when they brought out like all these women over and over and over, Bill should have said, man, forget y'all. I'm out. He should have left. And they got so many countries that don't have extradition treaties with the US. He should have just left. He should have left. That's what Russell Simmons did. Russell Simmons said, man, y'all ain't about to Bill Cosby me. He sold his stuff and he took off.
Yeah, but I think that is still the byproduct, Brother Phil, of this love for the soil of America. We feel such a kinship to this land, and when you have a guy like Bill Cosby in his mind, hey, wait a minute, America loved me. Maybe they're gonna forgive me. Maybe they're gonna they didn't love him, and they called him America's father. They didn't love him, and you saw what happened. I think, let me just say this, Phil. Let me pull this out of my jacket. Everybody that's in the chat room, everybody that's listening, make sure you get a passport. This is very important. Very, very important. Because you need to broaden your mind by traveling and seeing other parts of the world. Because a lot of times we're being inundated by only what we get in American alphabet news. We're not. So when you go and see the world, before you say negative things about Africa, go there and travel there as Brother Phil has done so that you can get a proper perspective. Because if you don't have that perspective from going there, then you really need to shut up and stop trying to manifest these negative things about the continent when you've never been there. Your only information is what you got on the news here in America, manipulated news, and what you learned in your Tarzan movies.
Right, and make sure, like I said, I still laugh about this. So I took my 4-year-old. She has her passport now, and I was so laughing about her taking her picture. I just got a kick out of it. And I looked at, I said, "Hold on, you get a passport at 4 years old? I didn't have no passport at 4." I said, "Boy, I tell you, I had to laugh about that."
But that's an elevation. The next generation should be an elevated stage from where we are now. So our children, my daughter, they should be able to think on a higher level, a better level, and have a better way they think and see the world than us. We should always be a better extension of each generation. We should not stay stagnant. So your daughter having a passport at 4 years old, that's an example of that.
There's one person talking about the healthcare. The sister from the African Union said they need about 1 million doctors. Okay, wow. Where's the black doctors at? Right? If we have those 1 million black doctors come into the continent and start making it the best place ever, they welcoming you. Like, why? My thing is, it shouldn't be no issue. I don't get it. And like, my footage from Ethiopia is getting subtitled right now because I had to do like 2 different parts. Like, first I had to get all the footage put together, and I had like about 11 minutes, so I had to get it translated from Amharic to English because they were speaking Amharic. So once I got that done, now I got a sister doing the subtitles for all that. So that's almost by done. I think it'll be done here the next 2 days or so, I think what she told me. So yeah, we'll put out our footage out, for our trip in Ethiopia. But yeah, man, I mean, I enjoy it. Like I said, I can't wait to get back. I want to not just visit, I want to build something. Like when that sister talked about you can invest in gold mines, I'm like, okay, sister, well, how do we do that? And where do I sign up? Because I want to invest. I know you want to invest.
Definitely. And one of the things I plan to do and having these conversations like this, Brother Phil, is that I'm going to be releasing myself from the American matrix, going over, traveling. I'm going to try to do my research first, hit different continents, but mainly the continent of Africa, to see and understand from the perspective of the people. For example, Brother Dynas is the one that kind of inspires me because he really, over the years, has gotten himself out there on the ground with the people, learning from the people. And that's kind of the experience that I want to have. I want to go over there and really rub elbows. I want to have that kind of experience so that I don't become this black person in America who only has one point of view, and that's the point of view of what I get on television. As I said before, I don't want to have that point of view. So I'm not afraid. Is that people going to make excuses like, for example, oh, it's going to cost a lot of money. How much money do black people spend on Nike shoes and Cristal liquor, clothing, and all the latest music that's coming out and movies? And how much money do we spend, Brother Phil?
Well, recently black folks just spent about $6 billion. Give or take. I'm not saying every dollar Nike got with the Kaepernick thing was from black folks, but the majority of Nike's customers are black because an Asian woman was saying on Twitter that they know that 80+% of their business is black.
Exactly.
So that's why they didn't care about the Kaepernick thing to do that, because the white people aren't really their customers like that. So no, black folks spend a lot of that money. So we'll spend money on Nike, won't spend money on anything else. But let me give a shout out to O'Shea Duke Jackson. He said, shout out to Information Man and Advice Show, two of the best. Well, thank you, O'Shea. O'Shea, I saw your On the Couch episodes. That's actually pretty good, man. That's pretty good. I think you should go to Con and continue to do that. That was interesting. That was very interesting.
Yeah. I mean, let me just say this, Brother Phil. Black people, too often we have a mentality where we go out and buy and get what we want, but we beg for what we need.
Mm-hmm.
So like if we know that our kids need computers for school, things that are educational, things that can make us a lot better as people, then we're crying to the politician. Then we're crying about, well, how are we gonna get those computers for the school? We gotta have to talk to these politicians. But yet, when we want something, like I said, the Nike shoes, the fancy clothing, we somehow figure out how to spend money on that which we want versus that which we need. And so that's why when people say this, make these excuses about, oh, it's going to cost too much money for the plane ticket and blah, blah, blah. That's just another, as Brother Diney says, another Negro stalling tactic.
Mm-hmm. But I'm thinking today, man, like even if like, how big time sports is in America, right? Yes. Think about this, man. If you went like what Akon said about whatever you do here, just take it over there. Think about if you started a basketball league, right? Think about if you started an American football league, because yes, they play soccer, but you got to understand, all our talent came from the continent, and to this day, Africans, that's called Americans, are making white men billions of dollars every day in the area of sports. So what if Information Man go and say, I'm gonna start an African football league? That's what I'm gonna start. And I'm gonna do American football. And we're gonna just recruit people, we gonna pay people, and think about it. You're not gonna come out of pocket paying like you would pay over here. These guys get paid multi-million dollars. Over there, you can research what good pay is and just up it a little bit, and you still won't break the bank. You can start your own football league in the continent.
Brother,
trust me, people would love to see that.
You're hitting on something very important, Phil, because I was listening to a brother, you're probably familiar with him on YouTube, goes by the name of Pharaoh Says That. So I'm listening to him late at night because he does these really late at night streams. And he said, and I thought that what he said was based in some reality. He said it's not going to be the black conscious community that's going to go over to Africa in droves. He said it's going to be something that's going to happen, like people creating things like what you're talking about. What do black people tend to gravitate towards sometimes? If something is popping, something is fun, it's a big party going on over there. All of a sudden, we're like, shit, I got to get over there, right? Yep. He was saying that once the rappers and the black celebrities go over there and start buying houses and setting up clubs and setting up entertainment stuff, that's going to probably get black people in America to say, wait a minute, it's a party over there. I mean, I'm not going to say that black people, that's all we like to do is just party, but let's just be honest. We like anything that's exciting, that's popping. You know what I mean? And he was saying that he said he believes once those groups go over to Africa and bring that relevancy to it, because we do follow celebrity, let's be honest.
Unfortunately,
that may cause black people in America to say, wait a minute, stand up and take notice and say, hey, I got to get over there. I got to get me a plane ticket. I want to be a part of what's happening. So, Brother Phil, what do you think about that concept? That we keep thinking that it's the hotep and the conscious black man and woman that's going to be the one to get us over there. when in fact it could be exactly what you just said that Akon's talking about. Do what we're doing here over there without the fuckery, of course.
Let me read. O'Shea gave us another super chat. Thank you, brother O'Shea. He said, "Yeah, bro, I'm going back again. I'm going to get a light system and take your advice." Yeah, man. It's like, look, we got to do it. We can't. I'm not all for just making YouTube videos talking about, oh, that sounds good, man. Forget that. I'm all for trying to get the things done and start the businesses. How can I clear this up? What's up with this? Hold on. But yeah, do that, O'Shea. Do your thing, brother. But also, like I said, because everybody loves sports, right? And sports is just, and the thing is, you started, you start off small, whatever, but you started. I'm pretty sure that the government of the country would love all that revenue coming in as well, because you got to get them involved. You got to play the politic game no matter where you go. And yeah, man, like I say, you can open up some restaurants. Like you say, barbershops. You can start do real estate. Like Akon was saying, if you do real estate over here, go over there and do it. I mean, we can bring so much gifts and talents over there and don't have to be bothered. You know what I'm saying? Like we bothered here, because that's called what it is. The white man is never going to let you create a black version of the NBA. He's going to sabotage you. The white man is not going to let you create a black version of the NFL. He's going to sabotage you. And if he's not sabotaging you, black people will sabotage it because they don't want to make the white man feel uncomfortable. Let's call it what it is. So I think your best bet is to go to the continent and do it. You'll make more money. And they want you to come to make money. That's the beauty of it. They want you to come. They say sick of the Chinese and the white people raping the continent. At least when you go, you're not trying to rape it.
And we got to give ourselves more credit too, Brother Phil. Anything that black people have done or that we have innovated, other people have come and followed behind us. We are trendsetters. So whatever we do in the world, people are going to want to know what's going on, and they're going to want to be a part of it. So we got to give ourselves a lot more credit than we do. Yeah, we have our problems here in America. Yes, we do. But the same brothers, like when we were on the panel, that would tell us why we worried about Africa when we have problems in America, are the same brothers that would tell a brother like yourself and myself, the black community is scorched earth. Forget about it. It's a wrap. Don't waste your time. Don't be the cleanup man. Right. See, that's a contradiction.
What? Yeah. All right. You see what you just said? So why are you even tripping on? You know it's dead. You say it's dead. It's finished. It's done. Then why are you even making an opinion about Africa at that point?
Exactly. And if that's what I choose to do, stay the hell out of my business. Go do you. You go over there. Stay away from me. If what you got going on is so much important, you want to stay on that plantation over there, then stay your butt over there. Stay away from what we're trying to do. Now, you know what happens, brother. When you start off something small and you build it up, these same Negroes who will criticize you for like being interested in Africa will be the same Negroes that will come back and say, knock on your door and go, can I come in and join the party after you done did all the groundwork? Oh, can I come in? Aren't you the same person that told us that we Pookies and Ray Rays? Well, you know, man, y'all got it going on. You know what I'm saying? They'll be knocking at your door. Let me in.
Oh yeah, I was even thinking something small, man. Like, what if you would put on just even a basketball tournament, right? Wow. In one of the African nations, like just a tournament, you know, 5-on-5 tournament, they can win some prize money. You get what I'm saying? Because think about it. Let's say if you went to hold on. Let me think of an English speaking country. Let's say let me hold on. I got a currency calculator here. Just give me a second, so I can let me flip this real quick because everybody love Ghana so much. So you know what? Let's say Kenya, because the money go further in Kenya. So let's say if you had a $10,000 grand prize, right, for your basketball tournament, that'll be over 1 million shillings in Kenya. You think you wouldn't have the best of the brightest athletes to come play in your tournament when you talking about the grand prize is 1 million shillings?
Exactly.
Kenya shillings, man. That tournament would be featured. And think about it, you say you gonna come to Kenya and do that tournament every year. Shoot, you'll be finding out who your players gonna be in your new league real quick.
Imagine if Ice Cube, that hold the 3-on-3 basketball league,
bring it to Africa,
took that to the continent and traveled around the continent with that league. it would be just as viable and probably would just as much blow up as what it has done here in America. But
Or
that kind of thinking and that concept, you have to have a free mind. You got to free your mind of the barriers.
right. Or he could just start a division of the big three in Africa, right?
Yes.
And recruit players and do things like that. And like I said, trust me, it will blow up. And trust me, I know the government would like that because all people enjoying themselves. They will be making money off like ticket sales and food and all. You know, because like I said, a lot of people make money off of that mess. You know, you get your stadiums, you do everything you want to do, and you can do it for so much less money on the continent. You talk about trying to build a league here, trying to go through all the red tape politically. You know, they don't want us as black men to have anything. You know what I'm saying? You got to fight, toil. You got to deal with the white supremacists. You got to deal with all. What for?
Yeah.
When it's so easy to go, like say, to Kenya or somewhere else and do it.
Exactly.
And you don't even have the issues and problems.
And Brother Akon broke it down in the video that you played.
Mm-hmm.
He said that it's an opportunity. We just got to break away from the fear factor. And I don't know what it's going to take, brother. I don't know what it's going to take. Maybe this generation today is not the generation. Who knows? Maybe we are. But it's the fear factor. Fear is the one thing that holds a man and a woman back in all aspects of our life. If we can just turn the fear factors away, they hold us down so much. And that, I don't know what it's going to take.
Man, we can't worry about what other people going to do. I've been, like, one thing I learned by being in Africa, that we have to say, look, there's a section of us that just don't want to do it. We can't focus on them. Much as we love them, and we focus on them because we love them, okay? And we want them to see what we see, right? We don't want to leave them behind. But that's unfortunately, some people have to be left behind to do the greater thing. And maybe later, once it's built, and they say, oh, man, now I want to go. Like you said earlier. Because some black folks, unfortunately, we don't have foresight, so we can't see the vision. But we wait till something's built, and then we want to show up later, which I wouldn't be against them showing up later. At least they here, right? But yeah, man, it's a lot of ideas that you can do because the Chinese not doing that over there. The white man is not trying to do that over there because, see, the white man don't want all these blacks to start taking over in sports on the continent. Oh, boy, America would be done with sports at that point. Mm-hmm. They'd be done. And, like, think about it. You have all these people making 90 big time, making money. You know, you got big time billionaires right there on the continent. They see that league doing good. They probably gonna want to get involved. Like, hey, man, put a little money behind this so we could, make this thing bigger. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, man, it could be done,
interesting, brother. If we were to stop sending our kids, this has been my philosophy. If we were to stop sending our black athletes, women, young ladies, and young men to these quote unquote Florida states, Florida, the Alabamas of the world, and let's say we send them all to, for example, historical black colleges. Right? Remember back in the day, where did most of the best black football players come from in the NFL during the 70s and the 60s? Let's see, Walter Payton came from Jackson State.
Jackson State, yep.
A lot of those black players that were on the Pittsburgh Steelers that won those Super Bowls, a lot of them were students of historical black colleges because they didn't allow us, as you know, and everybody listening, they didn't allow us to go to the quote unquote white schools. So if black people were to wake up tomorrow and say, I'm going to stop sending my kids to these schools, guess who you think going to get the money? Because once we stop sending our kids to these schools, it's going to dry up their revenue because people are going to say, this is a terrible product. If you just got a bunch of white boys running on the field, nobody's going to watch that. They're going to be like, well, what's going on over here in this HBC school? What's going on over here in Africa? All the attention and money and TV contracts and deals are going to be cut by us because nobody's going to watch Florida State and Alabama. Alabama's been winning national championships because they're using our most vital resource, our children, our black children.
Right. I know somebody personally who's being recruited to Alabama. You know what I'm saying? A young brother. And so yeah, they come after them.
And that's feeding what? That makes money for the NCAA, these colleges, and then it feeds the NFL making money again. So basically, they've been making money off of our most precious resource, which is our children. And what I've learned is that white people, they teach their kids to be captain of industry, to be owners of teams, not players. And too often black people, we work and operate off of a system of, I hope my child get a scholarship. I hope they make it to the NBA. We too much often work on hope and not saying what's the most viable thing, playing for the team or owning the team. So I wish I could see the day that would happen, and how that would shake the world up, how that would shake our system.
Well, it's not saying that. Well, I want to see it happen. Like, no, the key is let's make it happen. Like, what could you do as brothers? Like, see, cause I'm all about that. I ain't for talking all the time. I'm like, look, what could we do? Like I said, get it. Like I said, we got to open a small relationship with the African Union, at least in Addis Ababa. Let's get a relationship with the African Union here in DC, and let's throw them ideas at the African Union and say, hey, what countries would be open to that? What could we do? Like I said, I'm all about making it happen. Like I said, I ain't for just talking.
Okay.
So trust me, you need to get a relationship with the African Union as well. All you brothers that's here in America, sisters, get a relationship with the African Union. They right there in DC. Go to the website. I put the website up. Sign up on that diaspora forum they have. They'll end up contacting you. Or make a trip, to the African Union over there in DC. We all gotta start doing that.
Phil, I'm gonna tell you right now, I'm going to make contact, brother. I'm gonna do exactly what you're saying. I'm gonna do it.
Yeah, we got to. I mean, cause if they reaching out, they doggone it, we got to move now. It's just that simple.
That's true.
Yeah. I'm done begging. Like I say, I'm not for begging nobody to, please, Mr. White Man, stop treating us so racist. Like, that's what he do. Like, why are you mad? Yeah. It's like if you're not mad at a dog barks or the sun come up, then why are you mad when he treating you racist? I mean, it is what it is. He's not gonna stop doing what he's doing to you. He have never changed from a day since he's been around here. He ain't gonna change. So
he didn't change when we were a child. He didn't change with my father. He didn't change with my grandfather, grandmother, and so on and so forth since day one. We have to understand that. You're absolutely correct.
Right. Well, let me see. One person saying the AU need to put up a shut up dual citizenship and AU passports. Well, they got things on the continent they got to work through. Like, they trying to go borderless. I mean, that is a big move. Getting rid of the colonial borders on their countries. I mean, things have to go in a process. I mean, I understand that. You can't just up and say, oh, let's do it this way. You got to do it in order. So my thing is, let's build a relationship with the African Union throughout the diaspora. Let's pitch to them these different things that we want to do, and they can connect you with people over there and say, hey, I think this person be good for this. This person be like, you have to do that.
So we as black people need to get our skin in the game, like you're saying. We need to get a passport, go over and travel. We need to get in contact with the union, like you're saying, let them know who we are, make a connection there, and then from there go over and connect with our people and tell them what we want to do, what relationship we want to have. We need to just do it. You're right. We just have to do it. And I think if we just talk and talk and talk, and we don't go proactive, like what you're saying, brother, and connect with these organizations and be a part, then we're just blowing spit in the wind. We're just talking. And I'm telling you right now, that link that you put in there, I'm prepared to do that. And I think those that are in the chat room, those that are listening, prepare yourself to actually take action however you can. We all can do something on whatever level that we're on.
Yes, excuse me. Let me hold on. I got it right here. Let me see. Hold on. AU Washington DC. I'm gonna put it right here in this chat, but I'll put it in the end. Oh, hold on. I ain't trying to cover the brother up. Washington. Okay, there we go. Sorry about that, guys. Sorry about that. HTTP AU. Let's see. Okay, I put the link up. It's auwashingtondc.org information, man.
Okay.
auwashingtondc.org. Go there.
I'm gonna click on it on my computer. I got my other computer over here. I'm gonna click on that.
Yeah, and so you can do that. So we can do that.
Welcome to the African Union Mission, Washington D.C.
You
All
there,
right.
brother?
I'm going to definitely when this is all over, I'm going to
They have a
definitely.
diaspora. If you click on there on the next thing, they have a thing to the left hand side said diaspora form or
Diaspora.
something. Yeah, and then it's going to ask you like everything that you do. Basically, what skin in the game are you bringing to the table? Which is awesome. You ain't just
Wow.
free signing up.
Okay.
You
Well,
know.
I'm going to definitely. I got the way. I'm going to definitely visit. It has the little visiting connection here. I'm going to definitely check this out and see and try to connect with this. I appreciate that, Phil. I think everybody in the chat room definitely click the link, check it out, and get involved. That's what it's
And then
about.
make sure if you get a chance, man, go to Addis Ababa and go see the big one. Like I said,
Okay.
it's gonna blow your mind. You're like, wow. You know, I was looking around in that place. Like it's a majestic.
Majestic, huh?
Yeah, you know what I'm saying. Let's say personal finance really important. It's not as hard as people think. We must get our money right and understand why. Blacksmith Financial 2019. Okay. Well, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, you know, you heard a lot of the conversation today. Information Man was bringing that heat to y'all. He making sure that you have no excuse no more why you can't do nothing. If you got an excuse, then you just want to be in the house of Master, and that's fine. Be with him because but it's gonna come a day that Master gonna tell you got to go. Even in slavery, and they had black folks they want to leave Master. They're like, Master, what I'm gonna do? I don't know. Go on from here. You free.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
get. You got to go. I mean, so eventually Master gonna have to kick you out because Master gonna have to save himself. He's getting in
Mm,
that position now. You get what I'm
mm.
saying? So, information man, want to leave us with anything if we wrap up?
Let me just say this. Excuses, excuses. Excuses are tools of the incompetent. Those who use them seldom succeed. So let's break out of the whole thinking of excuses and saying why you can't do something and start putting in your mind when you look at your black butt in the mirror, when you wake up in the morning and start saying to yourself, what is it that I can do from my vantage point? If we get into that type of ideology, that's going to be better for us. And I would also employ people use these social media platforms to learn everything about Africa. I mean, I know myself, I go on YouTube and I listen to all kind of news that's coming out of Africa, different websites that I know that it's African people that are putting the material out. And I'm constantly learning because looking at CNN, all you getting is Donald Trump 24/7. You're not learning anything. So I would leave people with that. I want to thank you, Brother Phil, for giving me the opportunity to grace your channel. I love what you do, brother. I've been watching you from afar over the years. I love what you're doing. Go strong. Don't let the haters or the critics bring you down, brother, because you're doing something right. That's why they're talking about you like that when they do. Um, I'm a brother. I'm a voice on YouTube, just trying to make my way and trying to enlighten people as I get information. I'm going to keep sharing that with you. And I don't care if a person has 1,000 subscribers, 5 subscribers, 200 subscribers. If what you got to say is relevant and about something and you're proactive, I'm going to support your channel. That's what I do. I'm not going to change who I am. I'm going to be consistent, be humble. No matter what type of attention comes to me, I'm going to always stay humble. So I wanted to say that to everybody in the chat room. I love you for being here. Love you, Phil, for having me on here. Appreciate it.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're gonna put the information man's link to his channel in the pinned comment, so you guys can go subscribe. Please, all of you who's watching, go subscribe to that brother. So as soon as we go down, go subscribe. Before I even put it up, just type in information man. It should come up. If not, just wait for me to put the pinned comment. We'll put the pinned comment for the AU in Washington D.C. and also we'll put the pinned comment if you want to get an EFF shirt. While supplies last. Get your EFF shirt. I went out this morning to the store. People looking at my EFF shirt. So get your EFF shirt. You may start some conversation as well. And you may run into the white supremacists one day that know about the EFF, and that would be very interesting. That would be. But, make sure, guys, like I say, we will come back tomorrow morning. We'll have another guest. We're going to chop it up on a few things, so make sure you look for it. We try to get around 10 a.m. in the morning. Come spend your Sunday with us. If you want to give 10% of your income, we'll take it, but we don't require it as a tithe on Sundays.
Brother Phil, I must tell you, brother, brother, I don't know what your time is like, brother, but I've got to interview you because I have an interview style that I want to interview you. I heard you the other day on your channel talking about how you started at the kitchen table, you started in the bathroom, and you were like, man, anybody that remembers that goes way, way back, brother. And so if there's ever a chance, brother, I would love to be able to have a chance to interview you and pick your mind about the origins of this brother Phil of the Avive Show, your humble beginnings to where you are now.
Oh Lord, that's cool. And like I said, yeah, email me. We see what how we set that up. There's no problem. And everything. I'm not one to like to talk about myself too much. I really don't.
Oh, okay.
No. We'll set it up. But I never been one to like to talk about myself. I rather talk about other things or other people. I never been one to like, let's talk about myself, But it is what it is. When people ask you, well, what it is and what's this? Well, how you think about it? I'm like, well, but it is what it is. Yeah, man. Yeah, I love to do it. Like I said, I love to go on other people's shows. Definitely people who got some sense. I'm not going on anybody's show.
Exactly. I hear you.
Yeah, but what do you say? Rashad say this may sound weird, but I missed the bathroom. Well, I miss my 4-year-old being 6 months old, but that's not gonna happen anymore. So but anyway, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for listening. Once again, get your EFF shirt. Buy your kid. Well, no, we ain't get no kid. We ain't make no kids EFF shirts. If this one does good, we'll make some kids EFF shirts. But get your EFF shirt if you can. Thank you for listening. See you next time.